Alright, what's up, dude? My bad. Jesus. I just can't get anything to work today. Jesus Christ. That's rough. My goodness. What's up? Oh. I almost had to shut all this shit off, dog. Like, nothing wanted to... I was literally on the verge of just ending the stream. Fucking Christ. Alright. Y'all don't know what we're doing today. If y'all have requests, let me know what the fuck they are. We're gonna get started with what we usually get started. I don't know if y'all have anything y'all want to watch in particular. I can't even remember what I said I wanted to watch yesterday. Bro, if this shit keeps giving me problems... Y'all don't notice anything, but I do. And it's like, it's pissing me off. I can't do it like this. Rain, what's good? Let me throw this away. And then we're gonna go to some Army Time stuff, read some stories, and then we'll get on. Hold on. 2 seconds. All my shit is fucking up today. All of it. This computer, part of this monitor. It's like, oh, just not a good day for this. I don't know. All right. Let me close shit. Oh wait, I don't have to read. All right. All right. Oh. But if my shit doesn't stop fucking up, I'm not gonna have a choice but to turn this off. Let's see how long I can put up with it. Alright. Alright. There should be new stuff here because oh shit. It's been a couple days since we Fort McCoy commander suspended after Trump portrait flipped the wall. Oh, well, would you... We gotta read it. We gotta read it. Trump derangement syndrome strikes Fort McCoy. Where the fuck is Fort McCoy? Hold on. Oh, that's why I don't know of Fort McCoy. It's somewhere in fucking... It's a... It's a Wisconsin training base. No wonder I've never heard of that place. Alright. Well, Madison, Wisconsin. The U.S. Army has suspended a Wisconsin training base's first You motherfucker. What is this? No! Wisconsin training base's first female commander after discovering portraits of President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had been flipped around to face the wall. So, like, you just turn them around so no one could see the faces. You know, you would think that as the base's first female commander that you would do everything in your power, everything within your will, right, to not fuck this up, because you're the first female commander, right, which means you're a trailblazer, which means everyone looks at you and you're so high ranked that the buck stops with you. So you acted like a whack-a-mole 19-year-old college kid, and you're paying the price for it. This isn't you don't do this as a military service member. That's one thing that that was hard for me to get used to whenever I joined the service as well. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Guess what? When you're in the service, you don't have it. And it took me a long time to get used to that. I hated it. It took me a long time to wrap my head around that. When you're in the service, you don't have free speech. You don't have freedom of expression. You don't do this shit, man. At the end of the day, you're not even a person, man. You're a number. So, and what do they say, man? And what do we always say in the military? Don't draw attention to yourself, right? You drew massive attention to yourself in the worst way. And basically, everyone that pretty much said that you didn't belong in that position, guess what? You just proved them right. Can't have no fucking female at this as leader of this training base. Hell no. For what? And then they give it to you, and you do this. Way to represent for women. That's great. The Army has posted an undated statement on Fort McCoy's website saying Colonel Shayla Baez Ramirez, Hispanic girl, of course, has been suspended as the base's garrison commander. The statement said the suspension isn't related to any misconduct, but provided no other details, saying the matter was under review. It's unbecoming of being an officer. If you want to be an E4 and do this shit, by all means, that's E4 behavior. You are a base commander. You're supposed to be the epitome of professionalism, regardless how you feel on the inside. And you can't be professional. You gotta go. That's it. When I was in the service, I despised President Obama. I didn't act out. I didn't do stupid shit like this, okay? I served under President Obama. I hated that guy. I still hate that guy. Garbage, right? So, but I didn't go out of my way to put myself out there, make myself known, expose myself, and get in trouble. Because, for what? What was the purpose? What was the point? What did you even really accomplish by doing this? Nothing. You're just a really mad little girl that couldn't control her emotions. I'm not going to call you a woman, that's for sure, because this isn't woman behavior. You're a little girl with way too much rank. That's crazy. The Department of Defense on April 14th posted photos on X showing portraits of Trump and Hegseth on the base's chain of command wall had been turned to face the wall, along with photos showing that they had been flipped back to face the corridor. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we read a story where the drill sergeant school of the Army, someone had taken upon themselves to fill a void photograph frame, right? So the picture that was the frame that was supposed to have Donald Trump, no one had updated that yet. And that's the chain of command's job. That's like higher command. That's their job, man. Officers, and they do all that stuff, man. Sergeants, lower enlist. That's not our deal. We don't do that. That's not our responsibility to hang shit up on the wall, right? And someone didn't update Donald Trump's photo. So somebody, I'm assuming a drill sergeant, somebody, it had to have been an NCO. There's no way I don't think it was an officer that did this. But they took it upon themselves to draw a caricature of Donald Trump that kind of looked like Donald Trump, but also kind of looked like a Simpsons character. And they put it in lieu of what was supposed to be there, the real photo of Donald Trump. And while it was fuck games, and while it was like, what the fuck you doing, man? This is drill sergeant school. It was still funny, right? And hey, that's up to the chain of command. That's your problem. You should have replaced that photo because you left it open to the E4 Mafia. You left it open to fuck games. And when you leave something open to fuck games, guess what we as soldiers are gonna do? Oh, we're gonna oblige, right? So, but no one really looked at that as a big deal. They were just like, hey, drill sergeant, stop fucking off, okay? That was funny, but quit fucking off. This is worse. This is worse. Because you're higher ranked than everyone at drill sergeant school. Like a base commander, you're that person. You're that guy. You're that lady. You're the one, right? So to be acting like this, that's cringe. Baez Ramirez assumed the role of garrison commander at Fort McCoy in July 2024 after serving as chief of the reserve program, U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. So you have a pretty good career. You've had some pretty good jobs throughout the service, throughout the military. And you drag your own name through the mud. For what? For Donald Trump. For real. For Donald Trump. You threw it away for Donald Trump. That's... Don't understand. I don't understand people that do that. They'll throw away their job because of Trump. They'll throw away a relationship because of Trump. They'll throw away a husband, a wife, fucking money, security, their freedom for Donald Trump. Why? It's so lame. It's like, you need friends, man. And it's crazy because like you have a job, right? And you're busy doing stuff. Why are you so worried about Donald Trump? Dude, I don't understand. You're in the military. Like, last I checked, didn't quite a few you know what, we're not even gonna bring it up. That's just low hanging fruit, and it's just too easy with you fucking Democrats. She was commissioned as a military intelligence officer through the Reserve Officer Training Corps in 1999 and holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, mental health. Isn't that ironic? Because it takes somewhat of a mentally ill person to do what she did. Really. You're not okay, dude. Out of all of your responsibilities and daily duties that you have to do as a base commander and all of these titles that you've held, I would assume that you were a very busy ass woman, and for you to take time out of your schedule to do something this petty? Dog, what? Talk about psychology. Holy shit. You need to go see one. From the University of Puerto Rico. Lord, I don't think there's that much merit in that degree, but all right. And the Master's in Strategic Studies I'm from Puerto Rico, so from the Army War College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. That may hold more merit. Who fucking knows? She holds numerous citations and decorations, including the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, and the Korean Defense Service Medal. Lots of soldiers hold that one. It ain't just you, really. Those seem fairly basic. You went to Korea. Cool. So did my dad. She has served as Chief of Operations of the U.S. Army Reserve Command at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. That's one hell of a job. Deputy Commander of the 501st Military Intelligence Brigade, and Deputy Chief of the Special United States Liaison Advisor Korea at Camp Humphreys in the Republic of Korea. Fort McCoy. So she did all that. I just basically read you her resume. She did all of that just to get suspended for some stupid shit that don't matter. Fort McCoy is a 93 square mile training base in the far western Wisconsin countryside. It has been in operation since 1909. That's a really shitty way to end the story. I don't give a shit how big Fort McCoy is. You just end this. Who wrote this? Unless this is ongoing, you're terrible at reporting. Todd Richmond? Okay. Well, there's that. That's that. So that's it. What up? Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Christian, Mysterious, Kat, Jeff, Kevin, Nissan. What's going on, man? Isn't it crazy, right, Nissan Juke? In the grand scheme of things, like, if you look at, like, the cosmic calendar, the fact that we exist is a fucking miracle. The fact that we're even here. The fact that millions upon millions upon millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of years worth of shit happening in the universe, and here we are. It's wild, right? Well, this lady's career isn't over. She's just gonna get made fun of, and she's gonna lose a lot of respect, and she's probably gonna lose opportunities for future positions, because if this is the way you want to act, yeah, we don't need you. That's kind of fucking... Kevin, sounds good. Army makes... Army makes combat arm... Let me start over. Oh, we gotta read that. Did we already... Oh, shit. Did we... I wonder if we covered that. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel will face trial for child sex crimes. That guy don't look familiar, bro. I don't think we covered that with the Angry Cops video. We need to click on that. Because I think the last thing we covered about military personnel being weird towards children was the army officer that was putting up hidden cameras inside of a fucking PacSun. Who shops at PacSun? Fucking kids. Weird bitch. Army makes combat arms fitness test sex neutral. Drops ball throw. The Army has reconfigured its fitness test, dropping the ball throw, making the test sex neutral for combat arms, and raising the minimum required score for 21 combat-focused jobs. Maybe I'm just stupid here. The fuck does sex neutral mean? Does that mean it's going to be the same across the board? If that's the case, thank God. Because for the longest time, I was sick of having a certain requirement for physical fitness, but then the female literally 3 feet away from me over here, that's the same age as me, has to do less. And I'm just like, no, man, because what if we go to combat and I'm doing the damn thing, but she can't because you made her do less, and now she can't do exactly what I'm doing. She falls behind. Now that's a weak link. I don't like that. So if sex neutral means it's the same for everyone, then for sure, I am so down with that. Yes, that's how it should have been. But if not, then fucking no. The Army dude had a Ranger tab, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that guy's a fuckface. Like, And the thing is he'll probably go to Fort Leavenworth too. Which, I don't know what Fort Leavenworth is like. I know what other prisons be like. I don't know what Fort Leavenworth is like. That's just for military. So I don't know if you go to a military prison and your crime was fucking with children, if you're gonna face any repercussions from the local population of prisoner. I would hope so. I would hope so. At least I pray that that's the case, because if I could do it myself, life has now been estimated to have a whole bunch of zeros, 0.1 chance of existing, meaning the very specific sequence of events that led to life is a very slim chance of happening again, despite... Dude, that's what I was trying to say, but you said it so much better. I wish I would have said it that way. Yeah, basically. Yeah, the fact that we're even here is just like... Bro, it's like... astronomical, man. And I heard a saying, right, that had to do with aliens. People always wonder, are we the only ones? There's no way we can be the only ones, right? If we exist, other people have to exist. But if we're the only ones in the vastness of the universe, that's an awful waste of space. That was the saying. It was basically a saying that spoke to the existence of aliens. And that's the logic. There has to be aliens. Because if it's only us in this big ass fucking empty nothing, that's just depressing. That's a waste of space, literally. No pun intended. Like, so yeah. It's wild. It's mind-boggling. Ashley, thank you so much for the 1 month. I appreciate it. I hope your day is going good. I hope you feel better. The exact scoring won't be published until early May, official said. Meanwhile, soldiers will now perform the deadlift, push-ups, sprint, drag carry, plank, and 2-mile run for the renamed Army Fitness Test, which, starting in June, will drop the former designation as the Army Combat Fitness Test when it becomes the service's fitness test of record. For the rest of the 200-plus Army jobs not on the combat list, soldiers must score a minimum of 300 points and at least 60 points in each category to pass. So, what jobs? This is strange to me because when you're in the Army, you're a shooter first. Your MOS comes second. At least that's the mantra that they taught me. Your MOS comes second. You are a shooter first. That's it. Everyone is. Right? It doesn't matter what your MOS is, man. Fuck cook, maintenance, you work in S3, S5, S4, S6, right? Supply. If you just so happen to go on mission, bro, you're a shooter that day. You're not supply, right? So like, what are these jobs that are not on the combat list, bro? Because I went on foot patrols where we got into firefights and there was a cook in the mix, and he was shooting back, even though his MOS was cooking shit. Right? So, like, what do you exactly specify, and how are you I don't really think you should do that. I think it should be the same across the board. I think for everyone, man, across the board, because what if one day all hands on deck happens, bro, and we need soldiers, we need shooters, we need people there, and we start pulling people from jobs, right? Because that can happen. And these people don't have the proper fitness. They don't have the proper training because you said, oh, fuck it, we won't need them to fight. But what if you do? What if you do need them to fight? Because every gun matters. What if you do need them and they're not ready because you didn't prepare them? So you're fucking yourself, you're fucking the people that are prepared, and then you're fucking them because they're not prepared. I don't like that. But okay, combat armed soldiers must score 350, also with a minimum of 60 points in each event. Bro, that's so many events. What were the events again? Bro, that's exhausting. So, sprint, drag carry, plank, and 2-mile run? Oh, dog, that's just like... I come from an old school military, man. Push-ups, sit-ups, run. That's it. Push-ups, sit-ups, run. And it's all encompassing. That works your entire body. Sit-ups, your core. Push-ups, your upper body. And then you'll feel it in your fucking legs after that 2-mile run. So, like... I feel like it worked for us, and none of us were out of shape, and all of us we had like maybe 1 or 2 fat bodies, but
Between out of my 4 years in the service, I only saw a couple of fat bodies, right? So like, and they got dealt with. Either they lost the weight or they got fucking separated. So like, I mean, soldiers in the 21 combat arms who do not pass on first or subsequent authorized attempts will be reviewed for job reclassification. That seems like a lot of work when you could just, like, I don't know, smoke the shit out of them until they pass it, which is what they did to us. You failed the PT test, you came in on Saturday to do PT. You came in on Sunday to do PT. You showed up an hour before everybody else to do PT. And then you did PT with everybody else. And then eventually you passed your PT test. You were basically forced, man. And after all that forcing that the military did, like holding you down and punching you until you pass, right? If that doesn't happen, you get discharged. A whole ass reclassification of MOS because they can't. This is so convoluted. I feel when it could just be really simple. One size fits all, man. It's an army, dude. Like, I just did my last ACFT today. The ball throw is a massive point of contention, and deservedly so. I genuinely think it only existed to bring scores down. What the fuck does a ball throw have to do? Like, push-ups is upper body strength, your sit-ups is your core, and running 2 miles in less than 15 minutes is, you gotta be able to do it. You gotta be able to do it. The ball throw is pointless. The sprints, you're already running 2 miles. Why run more? Right? And then the drag and carry, that has to be, what is that? Drag and carry. That's like that's part of like CLS, right? Combat lifesaver. Drag and carry, buddy carry, all that shit, right? Or you're carrying something or dragging something, dragging weights, carrying weights. The drag and carry, cut that shit. Sprint, cut that shit. Plank, cut that shit. Bro, just go back to push-ups, sit-ups, and this would irritate me if I was still in the service. This is just more confusing, man. Like, and then what about weight and tape? What about weight and tape? You can pass a PT test, but if you're too round for your height, then you bust tape, and then the PT score don't even matter if you break tape, right? At least that's how it was for us. You could pass your PT test. If you fail tape, you got to do PT again. You got to do the PT test again. Like, so it. I don't know, man. Like. Okay. Sergeant Major Christopher Molinax, the enlisted leader for the Army's G357 office. Really? What? Never heard of those. I usually just heard of S's, but... and Command Sergeant Major Joanne Newman, whatever. Senior enlisted for Army Special Operations Command told reporters on Tuesday that the service dropped the combat designator for the test title because it was redundant. So what I just said, like, this needs to be for everyone, not just combat related jobs, right? The purpose of all Army training is to prepare for combat, Molinax said. Okay, so y'all fixed it. Because that's stupid. It's just like, every job is a combat job. It doesn't matter, like, you're a shooter first. Following a detailed review of each of the events, researchers with the RAND Corporation noted the steep technique learning curve of the 10-pound medicine ball throw as not benefiting the not benefiting the intent of the test, which is to build explosive power. Yo, we're soldiers, not middle linebackers or running backs. Man, what do you mean? Like, the sprint I can deal with, the drag and carry I can deal with, that medicine ball throw, I can't deal with that, dog. That's like, no. Man, And let me tell you something. I was an athlete in high school. I played baseball for 18 years of my whole ass life, and had college offers to play at schools, like scholarships and shit. I didn't go, and my grades kind of sucked for some of these schools. I would have been having to pay out of pocket. So some of these schools were really good at baseball. I couldn't play there. I had to go to state. But. And even when I was playing baseball for all those years, varsity baseball and all that stuff, I hated the medicine ball. We all did. All of us did. Because it's like, football players use the medicine ball. Wrestlers use the medicine ball. Baseball players, we did not give a rat's ass about that medicine ball. We fucking hated it. So I see no benefit to that at all whatsoever. I mean, like, with the removal of the ball throw, so you did remove it, the maximum score possible drops from 600 points to 500 points under the new configuration. Male and female soldiers serving in one of the 21 combat arms job listed by the Army must pass each event under the 350-point standard for a successful test, regardless of gender. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. One thing that I truly hated when I was in the service, bro, I'm telling you, is busting my ass to knock out 56 push-ups in 2 minutes, which, to be fair, that was also the standard for the females, because the military acknowledges that females have really strong cores and shit. And there were some females that actually outdid me with the sit-ups. But then the push-ups, they had to do what, like 18? And then with the 2-mile run, a lot of these females, they got like upwards of to like 18 minutes to run it. Where as in me, I had to run it in less than 15:54. That didn't sit right with me, man, because I was like, this girl's gonna deploy with me. This girl's gonna be on a foot patrol with me. This girl's gonna be on a convoy with me. If shit hits the fan and she physically can't do it, that either puts me in danger or I'm having to do more work to pick up her slack. I don't like that. This is combat, bro, and everyone should be the same. I love how, like, the military for the longest time is always teaching about uniformity, except for the PT test. Finally, thank you, man, because like that shit is just Now, as far as the age, I get that. We're not going to talk about that. I understand that. As you age, your standards will go down. I don't know if that's still the case, but when I was in the service, the older you got, the lower your standards became, because the military also recognizes that as you get older and as your body goes through deployments and just daily PT and just the rigors of being in the military, they realize that you're going to lose a step or two. As you get older, you always do. Father Time beats us all, right? So the tests are likely to remain age normed, which means that scoring is adjusted for the age of the soldier. Good. That should stay the same because, dog, yeah. So like when I was doing PT, but my first tour was doing PT, and Staff Sergeant Villacorte, he was like 43 years old. He was our platoon sergeant, little Filipino guy. And his standards for doing the PT test were dirt fucking low. Like hella low. I was like, Sergeant V, why do you even show up to these things, man? You could walk the run. You'd barely even have to do push-ups or sit-ups. But that man still came to every fucking PT test and knocked it out and maxed it like an 18-year-old. Every single time. 43 years old, and he was still meeting the 18 to 21-year-old standard for the events, run, push-up, and sit-up. And I was just like, you're a goddamn animal, bro. And he had been shot in the knee twice. I was like, I don't even know how you're still walking, doing anything. Like, dog, retire already, Sergeant V. He loved it though. Army officials listed the following jobs that must meet the 350-point minimum standard, which are the combat jobs. So let's see what they deem combat jobs. 11 Alpha, infantry officer. 11 Bravo, infantryman. 11 Charlie, indirect fire, which is mortars. 11 Zulu, infantry senior sergeant. I've never heard of that. 12 Alpha engineer, 12 Bravo combat engineer, field artillery officer, fire support specialist, special forces, Special operations, blah blah blah, intelligence sergeant, communications sergeant, special forces warrant officer, didn't even realize they had warrant officers, armor officer, Bradley crew member, cavalry scout, and a M1 armor crewman, and a armor senior sergeant. This is what you deem combat? This is what you deem combat jobs? Me personally, I think it should be all encompassing. I'm sorry, bro, but like, if you work in S6, you should meet the same physical standards that I have to meet if I'm on a foot patrol. Like, I wasn't any of these MOSs, bro. I was 88 Mike, okay? But I just so had the distinct pleasure of being stationed with an infantry unit. And I also had the distinct pleasure of being stationed with a transportation unit that did a lot of convoys, a lot of gun truck missions, and just a lot of on-the-ground stuff, okay? Right, so I had my fair share of firefights, just like 11 Bravos. I had my fair share of getting shot at, just like 11 Charlies. And I went through everything that these guys went through. I just didn't have their titles. So technically, according to the military, my job's not combat, right? Even though I saw just as much, if not more combat than some of these guys, right? Some of them have seen more combat than me, but the point stands. Everyone needs to be the same. Not just certain MOSs, not just this MOS, not just that MOS. If you're a cook or you're maintenance, bro, you should be the same, man. And maintenance dudes, they're always in shape, bro. Like, because they're maintenance. They be dealing with heavy shit all the time. That those guys probably don't even have to do PT just because, like, how strenuous their fucking job is, and especially if you're working on Bradleys or like big vehicles and shit. And oof, it's and especially artillery, man. Artillery, those big ass shells, loading those shells, being in those tanks, and just like, it's, you gotta be strong, man. Strong as fuck. Right, so I get it, but discussing the change, Nauman shared her experience in passing assessment and selection for special operations in the early 2000s and said that achieving that standard helped her maintain credibility with the force. Yeah, it does. Actually, when you can meet the standard that everyone else is meeting, yeah, you get respect. I see this as a positive for women in combat roles because it's the same standard. Someone's using their brain. Oh my god. Nauman, what's your name again? What's your first name? Someone's using their brain. Thank you. That's what we've been saying for years. Like, yes. And it'll help them integrate better. They won't stick out. They won't be the black sheep. They won't be like, they will no longer be looked at like I used to look at them. Like, I don't want her with me, bro. She's not the same. Now y'all are the same. That's so. Granted, I still stand behind my belief that while y'all can be in combat jobs, females in like the Navy SEALs and Special Forces, it's still, to me, that's still just like a little bit out there, and just like, nah, man, y'all want to do the infantry stuff, y'all want to be Rangers, go ahead, go for it. If you can do it, girl, do it. But Navy SEALs and Special Operations and some of these like higher echelon tier groups of soldier, I still don't think y'all belong there yet. But hey, one might slip through the cracks. Nauman here slipped through the cracks. She passed selection for Special Forces. Commendable, admirable, impressive. I respect you. However, Nauman is cut from a different cloth than 90% of women, right? When it comes to that job, Special Forces, Navy SEALs, all that, like those special operations, high tier jobs, right? Like, she's the exception, you know? And not every woman, not even every man, dog. That's the crazy part. You can send 1,000 guys to selection and to Navy SEAL school, to BUDS. Only 10 of them make it, right? And it's even, so the numbers are even lower for females because, one, not very many females want to even do these jobs. They're not even interested in these jobs. And the ones that try, they got to meet the same standard. Sometimes they can't. So, You know, we ain't gatekeeping. We need to. It's about combat effectiveness, and if you can't understand that, then I mean, hey. And Mrs. Nauman here, she does. Thank you. Implementation guidance is scheduled to publish in May. The test will become the official test record in June. New scoring standards for the combat arms job will take effect in January 2026. The scoring standard for combat jobs will become the standard for the Guard and Reserve. Nice. In June of 2026, according to Army officials. All in all, I read nothing but good news. I don't know about y'all or what y'all think, but oh, Kat's in here? Where is she? Where'd she go? I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Where is it? Oh no. Zulu is typically reserved for Sergeant Major and above. Really? They stay in their respective MOS series, but they're just a Zulu now? Huh. Dude, I'm gonna be completely honest here. When I was in the service, I didn't think that anything had the name Zulu. Me and my friends had like an inside joke. And it wasn't just me and my friends, it was like a lot of soldiers. We had this inside joke, both units that I was at, where we would go out into public, and if someone asked us like, oh hey, you're in the service? And we'd be like, yeah. And they would ask us what our MOS was, and just like jokingly, it being funny, we would say 99 Zulu. And they're like, 99 Zulu? What is that? And we'd be like, it's a combat ninja. And then we would just walk away. And we would leave them there with just that statement. It's a combat ninja. And then we would just dip. And the looks on their faces, they'd be like, combat ninja? Oh, let me Google this. It's so funny, dude. It's so funny. 99 Zulu is what we would say. Like, yeah, I'm combat ninja. So that's the only Zulu that I knew of in the service. I didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah. All right. Well, the only thing that I see as negative here out of this entire story is that you're designating this physical fitness exam for certain MOSs and not all MOSs. And I am a firm believer that everyone is a shooter, not just these guys. Okay? I'm telling you, man, I was deployed twice, and I served and were in firefights with people that were not in combat MOSs. Like, dude, it was crazy, man. I was in a firefight one time where it was me, an 88 Mike, an 11 Bravo, a cook, and a maintenance guy. Okay? There were more people, but just to give you an example of the MOSs that were around me while we were getting shot at and returning fire, right? Like, come on, man. And those same guys I went on foot patrols with, 11 Bravo, 88 Mike, maintenance, cook. I would go on foot patrols with these guys. Sometimes we'd get shot at, sometimes we wouldn't. Sometimes we'd deal with bullshit, sometimes we wouldn't. These very same guys we would do foot patrols up mountains, man. Like, so when you say that these are the only combat jobs, I disagree. I disagree. Every job is a combat job. If you wear that uniform, you are a soldier, you are a shooter, you will die for this country. That's it, man. Like, so I'm just saying. My great-grandfather was a Navy cook in Vietnam. You see, man? Gets Daily Duppy. That's not a song, is it? Because we only do music on Twitch. We don't. And James, what's going on, man? How are you? How's your Friday? I hope all of you are having a good Friday. I completely forgot that it was Friday. Happy fucking Friday. I watched the Zulu movie. I don't even know what that is. It's just called Zulu. Okay, now let's get to the final story, and then we'll move on to other stuff. This dirtbag. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel will face trial for child sex crimes. See, I don't think we've heard the story, man. If Angry Cops did a video on this and we didn't watch it, my apologies. But, I mean, now that I do this, I find myself covering some of the same stuff that Angry Cops covers more or less. So sometimes I don't even have to watch his videos, even though I still find myself wanting to just because he's fun. Kevin DeFalco. God damn it. I hate that your name even sounds remotely close to mine. Ugh. Ugh. Seen here at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada on June 4th, 2019, was arrested for sexually abusing a child in 2022. The U.S. Air Force set a trial date for Lieutenant Colonel who previously faced child sex abuse charges, according to the service. Lieutenant Colonel Kevin DeFalco, an active duty service member stationed at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada, was arrested in 2022 by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and brought up on charges that included lewdness in the presence of a child and one charge of abuse or neglect. When it comes to children, that could mean any number of things, and I really don't want to list off those things because it's gross. The Air Force ultimately opted to move forward with administrative procedures and withdraw the charges, dismissing the case without prejudice on June 17th, 2024. You know what? Matter of fact, now that I'm reading that, I think I did hear about the story because I think I was irate whenever that happened. I think. Maybe. Actually, no. I'm still thinking about that Army officer that was setting up hidden cameras in the PacSun, and I believe that he got a slap on the wrist. I keep thinking of that, guys. It's not the same. Y'all are all the same to me. Fucking disgusting. But DeFalco finds himself staring down similar charges again. If the military doesn't press charges, civilian police will. On December 6, 2024, charges were preferred anew in the case against. So someone said, nah. Bring that shit back. No, fuck that. No, we getting this guy. Like, thank God. In the case against Lieutenant Colonel Kevin DeFalco, a Nellis Air Force Base spokesperson told Military Times in an emailed statement on March 27, 2025, the Office of Special Trial Counsel referred the case to trial by General Court-Martial. Well, Kevin, looks like we have something in common. I, too, went to trial by... Ooh, never mind. We do have stuff in common, but not quite. I went to trial by Special Court-Martial. You're going to trial by General Court-Martial. I feel like that's worse. Because... yeah. I'm thinking back to my court-martial, and I had two choices. I could either choose to be opted to be judged by a group of my peers or be judged by the judge. I chose to be judged by the judge because, well, they were my friends. And while I know now that they did have my back, I didn't trust anybody with my life, right? I didn't trust anybody with a verdict. I didn't trust anybody but that guy sitting with the gavel to say what my future was gonna be, right? And I feel like mine was a special court-martial. This is a general. Are you even gonna have that option? I don't know, man. I feel like that's worse. So, the base said it cannot elaborate on the nature of the charges. Oh, it's gonna come out in court. Or why new charges were preferred, as it could impede an impartial trial. DeFalco is facing 7 charges, including sexual assault, sexual abuse of a child, indecent exposure, indecent conduct, giving false testimony, conduct unbecoming of an officer, and a gentleman and possession of child pornography. How many laws did you want to break, Kevin? All of them? You fucking golly. His trial is expected to start September 15th. At the time of DeFalco's arrest, he was the commander of the 57th Operations Support Squadron, which manages... What is he? No, okay, never mind. Because there was another Air Force officer, I think he was Hispanic, also got caught fucking with kids. And I don't know what happened to that guy either. I really need to start following up with these fuckers because... Whew. At the time of DeFalco's arrest, he was commander of the 57th Operations Support Squadron, which manages Nellis Air Force Base's airfield, airspace, and flight scheduling operations. You are the commander of the 57th Operations Support Squadron. You manage Nellis Air Force Base's entire airfield, the airspace, and the flight schedule. How do you have time to fuck with children, man? How? How are you not up to your fucking eyeballs in paperwork and emails and... But look at you. You're a whole ass goober, bro. Man, you're no maverick. You're no goose. So of course, you go for the kids. I can't imagine why, because you know how many goddamn boot chasers exist in this fucking country? Thirsty fucking ladies that are just dying to marry a service member for the benefits. You're fucking with kids. This just means that you're sick. This means that you've been sick a long time, because if you're doing this now, you probably did this last year. And if you did this last year, you probably did this 10 years ago. And if you did this 10 years ago, you've probably been like this your whole life. You gross bastard. Military Times reported in September 22 that the alleged victim informed school counselors that DeFalco had sexually assaulted her from December 2021 to June 2022. According to a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department report, DeFalco sent the victim lewd Snapchat messages. Something about someone this old still using Snapchat just bothers me. Asking her to wear lingerie he'd gifted her. This just gets weirder and grosser. The victim was also able to identify a tattoo in DeFalco's groin area, so you sent dick pics to this child. That's, I don't know who the parents are of this girl, but, you know, y'all should really protect Mr. Kevin here. Maybe protective custody. Because, I mean, we've seen time and time again where this type of thing happens to a child, and the father loses his fucking marbles and kills you. So... hey, that's just... if y'all want him to stand trial, at least if I was the father and you want him to stand trial, you better protect him. Because, oh boy, I don't have children, but the fact that this makes me so unbelievably goddamn angry and I don't have kids, I can't imagine if I had kids. Bruh, I would remove you so fast. I would remove you so fast and it would be easier than breathing. Like, there's no... The counselor alerted law enforcement and DeFalco was arrested that same day. Right. You know what I'd really like to know? This is what I'd like to know. And to me, this is a really important question. Go back to this statement right here. The Air Force ultimately opted to move forward with administrative procedures and withdrew the charges, dismissing the case without prejudice on June 7th, 2024. Who did that? Who did that? Who was in charge of that? who signed off on that? And I know that there's a signature because it's the military, and the military is nothing but paperwork. It's nothing but guns and paperwork. Okay, so I know that there's a signature somewhere from someone that said, you know what, fuck this, nah, forget it. Who are you? What is your name? Huh? Because I truly feel that people that let this shit go unnoticed, unpunished, and without retribution, you're just as bad as the motherfucker that committed the crime. Yay or nay? Do y'all agree or not? I feel that that's the case. I feel that if you see someone do something to a child and you don't say anything, don't report it, or don't punish the motherfucker that did something to that child, you're just as much a part of the problem as the motherfucker abusing the child. So, who are you? What is your name? Because fuck you too. Really? Nah, bro. That shit don't fly for me. Like, no. And when are we gonna start executing these people? I ask this all the time. Man, I ask this all. When are we gonna start executing these people? Because that's the only thing that's gonna make this stop. Because what? You send them to jail for a couple of years? You don't even send these motherfuckers to jail for life. For life. The dude that killed someone's grandma for her fucking pension got less time, or got more time than this fucker. Like, I don't understand. Why don't these people go to jail for, why don't we kill them? I don't understand. Because I guarantee you that from the perspective of a pedophile, if this pedophile sees that we are maliciously, without remorse and mercy, removing them from the equation completely, on a first strike, I guarantee they'll stop touching kids. I guarantee it. Or maybe you could make the argument that they won't stop doing it, they'll just be more careful about it. But you know what? Fuck it, we don't need these people anyways. And fuck his military service, it's null and void now. He's not a veteran to me. Fuck this guy. Why don't we kill these people? Because we're a whole bunch of fucking pussy-ass cowards that like to give more shit to the accused than the victim. We like to give more benefits and more mercy to the accused than the victim. Why? When the fuck did our balls drop off? I don't understand. Jesus. Pussy-ass motherfuckers, man. I swear. And I can't fucking stand it. And if you think that these people shouldn't die, you're also part of the fucking problem. Fuck you too. You're a pathetic pussy. That's just it, bruh. That is just it. Argue about it with me, fight me about it. I don't give a shit. I'm right, you're wrong. And if you think you're right, you're fucking inferior. You're just inferior. You're pathetic. You're lower than dirt. You're a fucking peasant. You're a goddamn peon if you make excuses for these fucking people. Fuck them. Okay, we're done. If my job was to kill pedophiles, I'd be employee of the month for 30 straight years, and I'd never leave work, and I would work overtime for the rest of my life. I'd never go home. I'd never see home. Ever. And you wouldn't even have to pay me. As long as I get to remove them, I'll live under a goddamn bridge in a fucking box and I'll eat Vienna sausages for the rest of my goddamn life if I get to do this one thing right here. That's how strongly I feel about it. Bunch of fucking cowards. It's just a mental illness. Fuck them. Fuck them. You drew the short straw for mental illness. You hit the slot machine for mental illness. You drew the wrong one. Sorry, you died today. Schizophrenia, fine. All that bipolar, fine. Whatever. You pulled the slot machine on mental illness. What'd you get? Oh, you got pedophilia? Fuck you. You're dead. It doesn't matter that you were born that way. I don't give a shit. Fuck that excuse. You're pathetic. You're gross. You shouldn't breathe the same air that I do. Because in my opinion, I'm I'm better. We're all better than you. We're all more important than you. We're all more worthy of being alive than you. So, I really get a. Whew. All right, one of these days, man. One of these days. I'll tell you what, these motherfucking pedos. Y'all better pray that I don't make it to 75 years of age and I no longer have anyone in my life. You better pray that I don't make it to 75 years old and I have no one in my life. So if I make it to 75 and I no longer have any brothers, sisters, family members, let's just say that I'm 75 years old and it's just me on this planet. No one else. No wife, no kids, no cousin, no nothing. Just me. I'm coming after all of you. With malicious, vicious intent, and it's gonna happen so fast. It's gonna happen so fast, and I'm going to take out as many as I possibly fucking can. And it's gonna be fast. I'm not gonna stand on ceremony either. Just in the head, onto the goddamn next one. I'm gonna be an efficient motherfucker. I'm gonna be the John Wick of fucking pedophiles. If I make it to 75 years of age, my life's over at that point. I'm almost done. 75 years of age, and let's just say my sisters are no longer here, my brothers are no longer here, my parents are no longer here, and that's all I really care about. Brothers, sisters, parents. If they're all gone for some reason, I hope not. I hope they outlive me. But if they're all gone for some reason and I make it to 75 years old, I'm coming for every single one of you until law enforcement brings me down. Mark my motherfucking words, dog. That's a promise. I got nothing left at 75. I got nothing left to care about at 75. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. And I'll smile in that courtroom. How do you plead? Guilty as fuck, Your Honor. Guilty as fuck. Let's go, baby. Give me the chair. Give me life. I don't give a shit. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Y'all better pray. Y'all better get help now. Because in a couple of fucking decades, it may be your time. Y'all better go see a therapist. Y'all better do it. I need to take a smoke break. That last one got me feeling like extra homicidal, and I kind of got to tone it down for YouTube purposes because I'm on a pussy ass platform. So, what do y'all want to watch next? Some Fat Electrician, right? Dude, and the best part about it is that if I do that at 75, I'll die a god. I will be revered. I will be remembered. I will be placed on a pedestal. Oh yeah. Not at first. They're gonna be like, look at this little piece of shit. He killed 17 people. But when it starts to come out about who I was killing, they're gonna be like, well, god damn it, why'd you stop him? He was on a roll. What happened? Come on, man. Oh, you just see. You just see. I'm sorry, I'm done. All right. Let me, Bro, did y'all see this? I don't know if y'all care, if y'all even know who this is, or if y'all, but did y'all see the Shannon Sharpe stuff? The Shannon Sharpe drama? Did y'all see that? It's textbook, I'll tell you that. 56-year-old fucking a 19-year-old. And now the 19-year-old says that the 56-year-old raped her and now is suing him for $50 million. Did he rape her? No. He proved it with text messages. It was very consensual, but I don't know how you can be so fucking dumb. I don't know how you can be so dumb. You spent 15 years in the NFL. Pro Bowls. MVPs. You spent 20 years in television. Media. Celebrity. Famous. And you still don't know that Young ass, trifling ass hoes will do this to you? I almost don't feel bad for him. It's like, dog, put yourself in stupid ass situations. And now your credibility's gone. Moron. That's just hilarious. I watched the last video. I'm gonna watch this video on my own time. I know y'all don't care, but that's just wild to me. I have to look through this first. Hold on. Just to see what the requests were. Ugh. Is Kevin here? Probably not, but we're gonna watch this, I guess, because he wanted us to watch this. I'm just gonna add him. It's YouTube. If he misses it, he can watch it back. Let me see. Vince, are you still waiting for me to watch that 45-minute video by Fat Electrician? Vince, after this 45-minute video that I watched by Fat Electrician, I don't want to see a request by you that's longer than 25 minutes for the next week. Sound good? Because I really do just want to remind that a while back, the time limit for videos used to be 10. I don't know if y'all remember that. I don't know how long y'all been around, but request limits used to be 10. And somehow, some way, because I'm nice and it just got up to an hour somehow. I said, all right, let's knock it up to 15. Motherfuckers requested 30. You know what? Let's be even more generous. Let's do 30. Let's do 30. Motherfuckers request an hour-long video. I guarantee if I said, all right, the time limit for videos is 1 hour, some of y'all would request like a 4-hour video. China is 100 years ahead on infrastructure? I don't think so. I think he's just being facetious with the title, because that's definitely not. I don't think so. But we'll see.
I sincerely hope this video is showing off prop rebars and not actually used in buildings. But then again, it's China.
That's rebar? What?
I sincerely hope this video is showing off prop rebars and not actually used in buildings. But then again, it's China.
Bro, I just want to point out that, you see what he's doing here? He's barely hitting it with a sledgehammer and all that concrete is falling off. Do you know how hard you'd have to hit something here in America that's concrete with a sledgehammer to get it to do anything? Go outside right now onto your sidewalk with a sledgehammer. Take a sledgehammer to that sidewalk 5 times. It will not look like that. You may get one crack out of it. You may get one little thing that chips off or something like that. That's wild. Hey, you know what? We're gonna change this. Actually, hold on, because y'all need to be able to see this. This is a Greek fucking tragedy right here. Holy. Noelani, what's good? Watching the tragic infrastructure of China. Are those power lines?
You can't trust Chinese construction of anything. And welcome to the extreme competition of Chinese tofu drag.
One would wonder, why even have that pillar there to begin with? Okay. Dude. Okay. That's about enough. Wait, so why doesn't the Chinese government just use y'all's tax money to fix all this stuff, huh? I mean, sometimes it takes decades. I-85 was under construction for like fucking 20 years. But like, we get stuff fixed here. Sometimes it's not as fast as we would like. Sometimes it takes years and stuff like that, but we get stuff that's fixed, at least the most important stuff, right? Why doesn't your government fix all this stuff, China? Would it quite possibly be because of the type of government y'all have? I don't know. Maybe.
And this bridge had just opened, yet moments later, after small cars were tested on the bridge, a portion of it...
Because, you know, we have a completely different government, and our infrastructure don't look like this. I know y'all know what I'm trying to get at here, right? Like, I'm laying it on pretty thick.
Tank. And the speed in which these infrastructure and residential areas are breaking down is actually bizarre to me, but it just seems like something is really wrong in China. And this is a skywalk in Changzhou City, which is about 3 hours west of Shanghai, and it just collapsed like it's Lego.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on with
not ads. That's for sure.
Pretty sure Lego is stronger. Now in China, these type of single-family homes, they call them little mansions, are quite rare as most people in cities especially live in high-rise buildings and
What kind of what kind of party is the Chinese government, guys? What is it?
in these apartment complexes. But this one is just splitting like crazy.
Can y'all tell me? I just want to hear from y'all. What kind of party is the Chinese government?
看到屋里的，看见吗？个视频，好大的安全隐患，看那个屋里里头还住着人，个资金进咋个的？
Meanwhile, you got Jiangsu Nantong Country Garden Project, which people are calling this a nickname, Peanut Crisp, and it looks like it's just foam inside the walls. This high-speed rail project is exposed for cutting material costs, which obviously leads to poor construction quality and lots of cracks. And these are just some of the everyday struggles that Chinese people go through, yet you don't hear them in the news. Now, in the past, I've shown you some really extreme tofu drag moments, and here are just some of them to refresh your memories.
What? That's
And before continuing, if you're watching China Insider and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do and turn on the notification because we have videos like this every single week discussing the real issues in China.
都可以把那些屎来那种质量，我都怀疑那个大气好公斤料了。
已经有人自己在检查，是中球，不是猪肝。
it's like, you know what it reminds me of, man? Have y'all seen the movie The Interview? James Franco and Seth Rogen, and they go to North Korea to interview Kim Jong, and they go to North Korea, and everything in North Korea is fake. The grocery stores are fake. The food is fake. The fat Korean kid, he's fake. He's not real, right? And it's all just it's a facade. It's a facade to just put on to other people that like, hey, it's great here, and look at all this amazing stuff. That's what this reminds me of. It's just like it's just shit that's painted over with nice colors, and it makes it look. If the Chinese government was in charge of cleaning their room, the extent of the cleaning would be them grabbing a Lysol can, turning on the fan full blast, and just spraying the Lysol at the fan like this. Just. All right, it's clean. I feel like that's the Chinese government right there, in a nutshell, if this is what y'all call infrastructure.
Of course, my favorite.
Well.
But I think China
I mean, yeah.
in recent years have taken it to the next level.
It is, but I think Kim saw it. That's why it's banned. I think. Because the movie essentially basically shows that what we all know, and that's that Kim Jong-un is one big pussy. That's what the movie shows. He's just a big crybaby bitch. That's it. And he didn't want his people to know that. We all know that. The rest of the world knows that. Even people in third world countries with no TV know that, right? But Kim did not want his people knowing that. So, The Interview, Ashley. Didn't I say I was gonna go smoke earlier? I never did. Yeah, that's styrofoam.
The fact that in this
You know, in America, lots of times you can sue for shit like this. For instance, I saw a video of this couple who bought a $1 million house. It cost $1 million. And it was one of those $1 million houses that doesn't look like $1 million house just because everything's expensive, right? It's definitely not a mansion. They bought a house for $1 million. And the house was infested top to bottom with termites. The house was essentially falling the fuck apart. It was being eaten, man. And the guy recording, he's like, "Hey, did you have a termite inspector come through and check the house?" And the lady was like, "Yeah, a termite inspector came through." And he's like, "This termite inspector, was he an individual business?" Or she's like, "Oh no, the termite inspector was provided by the people selling the house, by the realtor company." And as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh, you got screwed. You got scammed." They got their own termite inspector to go in there and be like, "Yep, all good," even though it wasn't, just so they could sell you this expensive ass house. And you can sue for that shit here. I don't think you can do any of the sort in China. Can you? I don't know.
video that you can use a bottle to smack against the wall and not break. It just shows you how soft the material really is, because anything harder than foam, styrofoam, would shatter the glass. Extreme Tofu Drag, actually, it's like almost like they're competing to see who can build the worst foundation.
Dog, Puerto Rico has better infrastructure, I feel. But Puerto Rico has to. They deal with hurricanes on a yearly basis, right? So a lot of the houses in Puerto Rico, bro, like concrete with like steel. Concrete, steel bars on the windows, everything's rebar as fuck. Rebar and concrete, bro. Everything is solid, man. Solid as fuck. Those houses are not going anywhere. The only thing that's really gonna happen is trash, really, that flies around and stuff like that. But as far as like standing structures, them bitches do not move in Puerto Rico. They don't collapse, they don't fail, they don't just break, nothing, man. Again, they have a reason. They get hit with hurricanes. They have to be that way. But bet money, I guarantee you that if Puerto Rico had China's infrastructure, Puerto Rico wouldn't exist. It wouldn't. It would not exist. There would be no people there.
Who can lay the worst construction down and who can essentially cut the most corners, build the fastest at the same time, and pocket the most amount of money. Now, there's a nickname for China, which is infrastructure demons, and this was coined by Chinese internet users. They love building infrastructure, laying down new buildings, new roads, new bridges. Those come up really fast, and they also go down, well, also really fast.
But who wants to make a bet that none of that is the case in any government buildings in China? What do you think? Yay? Nay? Look at this. Look at this. Do you think this is happening in the same building where the president's chilling? Whatever the fuck his name is? Huh? Or maybe. I could be wrong. His house could be all fucked up too, falling apart because everything sucks, right? But something tells me that, nah. Something tells me that while big portions of China are falling apart and deteriorating at an alarming rate, something tells me that if you work in the government, or you're a politician, or you're a leader, You don't experience any of this at all. That's just a hunch, really. Tracy, what's up?
People are always impressed with how fast China build things. They have a lot of people, very cheap labor, so things are built fast. But you
Yeah, well, if that guy's building a building with rebar and steel and bricks and concrete, and I'm attempting to do the same thing, but I use a whole bunch of cardboard boxes, naturally, I'm gonna finish before that motherfucker does, because it takes longer to do things right.
also have a lot of ways in which, well, parties involved can make a lot of money from building things. And infrastructure has been one of the main ways in which local governments can produce their high number of GDP in the past years, especially during the height of Chinese development.
Oh, right. So your GDP, you go out and tell the world, look at our GDP, look how crazy it is. It's because you're cutting corners. You're building buildings faster than everybody else. Congrats, but your quality is shit. That's it. You chose quantity over quality, and now look at you. Have fun with that.
From the early 2000s to, I would say, before the pandemic.
I'd rather have one building that never falls than 80 buildings right now that'll fall tomorrow. The fuck? What kind of logic is that?
Pandemic in 2020, you essentially had people handing out contracts left and right to build new things. And that's the main core reason why Chinese cities look so urban and so advanced and so polished. It's because of this infrastructure push, right? But at the same time, you got to understand the greed level within the CCP and within these local governments and their partners are so extreme that they want to make the most amount of money on top of what's already being made. And that really generates this idea that cut corner, build fast, and we can move on to the next project. And that's also essentially what led to...
It causes everything to turn to shit. When you try to do everything fast and cut corners, it doesn't work for anything. It doesn't work for anything. I'll give you an example. Look at the media. We no longer live in a day and age where a reporter is going to sit down and he's going to make a whole bunch of phone calls and he's going to talk to a whole bunch of people. He may even visit that old lady, that little old 95-year-old lady on Rosemary Street to get her testimony, right? He's even going to do that. And his story might come out tomorrow. It might come out next week. You don't know. When he's done with it, you'll read it. And when you read it, it's accurate reporting and everything's there and it's fleshed out and you get a good picture of the whole story. Whereas in today, with media, these motherfuckers talk to no one. They ask zero questions. They see no people. And they just write a whole bunch of shit as fast as they can, because if they can get it out as fast as they can get clicks as fast as they can. And in the world of media, whoever gets the most clicks the fastest, that's who wins. Man, so it's no longer about journalistic integrity. It's no longer about reporting the truth. It's no longer about reporting facts or what's accurate. It's about reporting first. And that's why you have garbage media. That's why you have garbage news. That's why you have fake news. That's why you have opinions instead of factual information, because it's about click, 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 ad revenue. It doesn't matter if it's true. It doesn't even matter if it's correct. It's just, we need to get it out there. That's it. And it sucks. It sucks. It's always going to suck.
The so-called real estate boom, suddenly it became a real estate bubble with so many of these large developers going bankrupt because they had built, artificially increasing its so-called demand from the consumer side, essentially pushing this idea that everybody needs to get a home, to now overbuilding, and you have growth cities, you have...
Good God. What the fuck is that? Was this supposed to be an apartment complex? This looks like a fucking parking lot. This looks like a garage structure. Y'all started building it and gave up on it, huh? It's probably a good thing you gave up on it. You probably saved lives by giving up on this project. Imagine. Shit just collapses and 80 fucking people die.
Unfinished constructions, which is actually a big one, and continuous exposure of tofu drag.
What is that? What are those? What are those?
Like, why are there so many drainages in this video?
Those are... I was gonna say, I was like, are those manhole covers to like underground piping and underground infrastructure? Dog, I see maybe one of these every 2,000 feet. In America, there's like one every 5 feet. What the fuck? And they stick up massively high on the ground, dude. This is like driving over speed bumps. The covers here in America, they're flat, completely level with the ground. I would not recommend you walk on those things ever, because I don't trust this government. Not with those things, with grates and those manhole covers that cover under. I don't step on those grates. Water shit, like, you know, you've seen them. I don't walk on those. I don't step on those ever for any reason. I don't trust it. I've seen too many people step on one and then something happens, they fall through. Nope, it ain't gonna be me. And there was a statistic. 1 in so many people fall through those fucking things. Even here in the States, I don't walk on those. Hell nah. I don't know what y'all did here, bro. You know what this looks like to me? This looks like someone who started playing Sims for the first time and started putting resources and started putting pieces on the map that don't fucking go there. So like when I was a child, I was playing Sims and I was building a neighborhood and I put like 3 houses right here, and then I put power lines around the houses, and then I put another wall of power lines around the house, and then another wall of power lines, and then another wall of power lines. I had 19 walls of power lines and 3 houses. And my mom liked playing The Sims 2 when I was younger. We both liked playing it. And I was playing it. She walked up behind me. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm building a neighborhood. And like, these are the houses." Essentially what I was doing is I was building my house. I was building my 2 best friends' houses, because I was essentially building my neighborhood. I was like, there's Jared's house. There's Mike's house. This is our house. And this is the electricity. She's like, "Son, you don't need that many fucking lines. What are you doing?" I was like, "But I gotta power the houses and I need all this." She's like, "No, you don't." This is a child playing Sims for the first time, dog. That's like...
Like, why are there so many drainages in this video? Now, in this month, China suffered some extreme weather.
Tracy, I'd bitch if there were that many. You kidding?
Weathers across different cities. You had strong winds in the north to the central part of China. You even had a sandstorm in Guangzhou, which is in the south. And in Beijing and Henan province, we saw some of the worst winds. Now, this is not like a tornado or a typhoon type of situation or a hurricane, but it also meant that buildings were exposed for quality issues. Imagine the fear of being a Chinese pedestrian during these times.
Doesn't China experience earthquakes every now and again? Haven't they experienced earthquakes in the past? You would think that right there would be enough. Like, oh man, we live in a part of the world where earthquakes have happened and will most definitely happen again in the future. We also live in a part of the world where we might get fucked up by tsunamis. And you would think that you wouldn't be lazy when it came to Mother Nature. I don't understand. Like, maybe I could understand if you wanted to be lazy and cut corners for like a group of college kids that are going to be living in your Airbnb. But like, dude, these are like, this is like public areas, man, where people walk, drive, live, go to work. Like, this.
things are just falling over. Now, you could say that these are just cosmetics. They don't really hurt the building or the integrity of the building itself. And
Bro.
obviously, they're not going to hurt the function of the building. Well, I don't think it's just the outside. This is in the inside, which these columns are also tofu drag projects as well.
你看看，全部都是生锈的。这个水泥，这个混凝土，你看，这还敢住人吗？
Bro, I think that the only people that have an excuse for their shit getting fucked up because of inclement weather is people in Florida, people in Oklahoma, which is Tornado Valley. Man, and what are some other places that have such crazy fucking weather that it doesn't matter how good your infrastructure is? Right? Like, you can't really do much about it when an F5 tornado is bearing down on your ass, okay? Like, it doesn't matter what infrastructure you have. You're going to have to go underground. Everything's lost. That's understandable, but, like, that was just wind. That was just a little bit of high. It wasn't even a hurricane. It wasn't even tropical storm winds, which, like, that's crazy.
你看到没有？啊，这个承重柱的，这个是承重柱的。
会弄，弄你这上面，是吧？哇，都是空的，你看，哎呦，我的天哪！
All you motherfuckers that like complaining here in America, are you sure you still want to complain?
这个铁一口就烂
Are
了。
you sure? I mean, we did recently just have a bridge collapse, but that's because a whole fucking boat went into it. Remember? I think it was in Baltimore. But that building was old and should have been renovated ages ago. I think it still would have fallen from that impact, though. I'm not too sure, but you don't see too much like this here in the States, man. You really don't. And the only time you might see something like this in the States is if it's a historical building that they just decided to just let it be. Because it's historical. Yeah, it looks shitty. It's falling apart, but it's history. Leave it there. Fuck it. Right? But
Or in this case from 2024, the shop's entire foundation collapsed and is just hanging there in the air.
现在这就是很大，你看这塌了多深，看这房。
Same thing here, the tall building base is cracked. How long can this tall building last? It's like China is creating tofu drag miracles, literally flying in the air. Why are balconies like this?
More options means even more affordable ideas for your bathroom.
ain't no way, bro.
Now with Cox Internet and Mobile, the price of your plan.
Ain't no way.
And you'll get.
Imagine your kid is just like out on the balcony playing. And I've lived in apartments before that had balconies, and there was children on the balcony because we didn't have to worry about stuff like this. Now just imagine your kid's playing and just falls through. Boom, dead. Who do you blame? Who can you blame? And will they even do anything? I don't know.
or the fact that strong winds takes out an entire window with it. Again, we're not talking tornadoes or hurricanes. And this roof tower got blown over, blocks all over the roof. But it looks like no cement were added in between the blocks to actually glue it together. And so part of that tofu drag situation is you get pieces that fall over onto the ground and you destroy a lot of cars in the process. It's so dangerous. And this is in Shanxi province during the high wind.
But it's so bad here in America, right?
Here in Inner Mongolia, the wind
right?
blew over this wall, causing damage to cars and to people. And in Henan province, we had this massive roof flying away. Things just fall apart. Look, I get it. Natural disasters, strong winds. But in China, it seems like they turn into hidden ninja traps to defeat.
Remember back in the day where Kanye West's stupid ass was like, George Bush don't care about black people. Well, look at this. China's president don't care about no fucking people. Like, I mean...
the pedestrians and the cars. Here is a first-person view of what happens outside of the wall after the wind. It's actually simple physics. Objects pick up speed and become, well, deadly ballistic projectiles.
Oh, did somebody get hit?
So yes, it is dangerous, but you might be asking, how come I don't see the tall towers in Shanghai or beautiful city skylines in big cities in China falling over? Let's just say they won't do it where people put their attention. And they will do it definitely in places like rural villages, smaller towns, or even second-tier cities. Take this for example, Shanxi province. You thought it was an earthquake. Nope, just tofu drag construction. These older-looking buildings are actually relatively new. They built them in shopping districts to create this old China vibe, the classic looks, right? Historical.
Isn't it so funny? Isn't it so incredibly funny that Chinese restaurants here in America have better infrastructure than China? I thought that was funny. That was fun to point out.
Looks. So they're not some 300-year-old building, which those actually last pretty long time. In fact, in Tang Dynasty, there's a way in which you can construct large buildings by simply putting pieces of wood together. I think Da Vinci also had something with the way he built certain things. You don't require any cement or anything wrapped or anything glued.
Yeah, y'all might as well just go back to that because it's not working with the concrete. Go back to the old style, man. And hell, the old style, it looks better, to be honest. All these fancy towers and shit and blah, 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 man. Old school, like Chinese culture and Chinese villages and Chinese structures and Chinese houses. They look good. They look cool. They look amazing to me. I'd live in one. Granted, it can't be falling apart like all this other shit. But like, I would gladly like move to somewhere like, I don't know about China, but like, dude, the way that the houses are in Japan, like, their infrastructure, their housing, their buildings and stuff like that, especially like the days of old, I thought that shit looked so cool. I'd live in that. I would love to live in Japan and just like live in one of those like little small houses, maybe like 1-2 bedroom, like 1 bathroom and shit like that. Almost like a studio kind of, but just like in Japan. That'd be amazing. That'd be so cool. But might as well just go back to making everything out of wood, dog, really, for the most part. We have wooden bridges here in America that they were made like, I don't know, 80 fucking years ago, and they're still good. And they're wood. So like, I mean, if you're not going to do it the right way, just go back to the original old school way that guarantee works.
It's literally just wood blocks pieced into each other, and those things last forever.
No, I've always wanted to do this. That has nothing to do with Kenny at all whatsoever. Kenny just so happens to have gone to Japan. I've had this sentiment for fucking decades. Has nothing to do with him.
Well, minus if there was a fire or something like that. So modern day creation of construction is simply, yeah, a human issue. Sinkhole creation, also another big fun part of Chinese infrastructure. Roads that are they look pretty nice on the outside, will sink into the ground and cause a lot of problems for cars. Now, most of the time when construction is done, it looks at how much money is being pocketed by the parties involved. So the contractor, the developers.
I've seen sinkholes happen here in America. I've seen sinkholes happen in other countries. And it's hard to tell if that's just a crazy accident or whatever, or just it's hard to tell if that's infrastructure related, right? Because like the earth moves, man. Ground shifts, tectonic plates be doing stuff, right? So like, while you might think that you had good infrastructure when you built it and you dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's and checked everything and you were diligent, over the course of time, I mean, sinkholes can happen. I don't think that any one country or any one group of people with their infrastructure or their level of intelligence can avoid sinkholes. It'll happen. All this other stuff can be avoidable, but sinkholes is just one of those things.
And the local government, the only person that really doesn't get anything out of it is the consumers. So with money making in mind, this is the idea that you can get more done in a shorter amount of time, saving the cost. You can obviously put into other areas or into your own pockets. Governments would do this back in the days where the more land they lease, the more you build, the faster you build. So again, it's a win-win situation for everyone except for the developers. So then you can imagine as a homeowner or a business owner, when this type of stuff happens, there's no accountability involved because everybody is in it together, right? They're gonna push this responsibility around, try to delay your problem until one day you get.
We're protected from stuff like this in America because our government protects us against stuff like this. True shit. As much as Donald Trump makes your pussy bleed, or as much as insert any president's name makes your pussy bleed, America and its government protects us against shit like this. And if they can't protect us against shit like this, guess what? We will fucking sue and they will oblige. We will get paid some way, somehow, and we will get justice or we will get compensation some way, somehow. Y'all are all the way fucked. All the time. Every day. All year. Every decade. For the rest of time. But remember, America sucks. Or at least that's what some pathetic pussies in this country would have you believe. That's just because they've never left and they've never seen other countries and how they do it. Yeah, sinkhole. Yeah, they are. Oh my god. Yes, I know, Vince. I know that you would be back at the exact time that this video finished. I know you're in my stream habits like the back of my hand. Kind of like if I decide to do any other video that's not your video, you're going to say, I'll be right back. And then the second the video I watch ends, you'll magically be back in my stream. You're a creature of habit, Vince. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. But you're gonna have to spare me like 2 minutes. I'm gonna go outside real fast. Check on the dog. Smoke. Right back.
All right. Sorry. We'll see. Well, after this Dove Men Care. Alright. Yo, it's like really going all out for Dove Men, huh? Fuck Christ. Alright. Alright. The father of America's Navy, aka the first and last straight guy. I'm kidding. The first and last straight guy in the Navy. I'm just kidding. John Paul Jones. Alright. Here we go.
Behind every big movement in history, there's a hero, and that hero seemingly gets all of the credit, but behind that hero are other men that were deemed too rough around the edges to get any of the fame. For every George Washington, there's a Daniel Morgan. For every Abraham Lincoln, there's a Cassius Clay. For every Omar Bradley, there's a terrible Terry Allen. And for the United States Navy, there's this man.
I like him
Today
already.
we're talking about John Paul Jones, the father of the United States Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty
Oh, we're going way back with this fucking story. Holy. Alright.
well understood that America won the revolution.
I mean, technically, George Washington's way back, Omar Bradley's way back and stuff like that, but yeah. Way before all of our times.
Revolutionary War by utilizing guerrilla warfare tactics. What's less understood is that while American Revolutionary War heroes like Daniel Morgan, Andrew Pickens, and Francis Marion were conducting guerrilla warfare in the United States, John Paul Jones was utilizing guerrilla warfare tactics on the water and taking that fight all the way to the British, becoming the first man to attack Great Britain on their own turf in over 100 years. He was the first man to raise an American flag on the first ever U.S. Navy commissioned warship, the USS Alfred. He was there and he participated when the United States Marine Corps made its first amphibious landing in history.